In this video of the Historic Ordnance series, we're going to be looking at another Yugoslavian anti-personnel mine. What you see here is a PMA or PM-2 non-metallic anti-personnel mine. This mine falls in the toe popper category. Now, from what I was able to find out, these entered service with the Yugoslavian military sometime in the 1970s. Not really sure when. This has seen service in Albania, Angola, Bosnia, Cambodia, Croatia, Serbia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Congo, Algeria, and Kosovo. Now, I suspect they have also appeared in South America because some of the information I came across when I was researching this mine, I came across some pages that were in Spanish from a military down in South America, and I recognized the layout of that type of pages as materials I seen out of Colombia. So it's possible these have made an appearance in Colombia being used by some of the insurgent groups down there, but I'm not certain. Now, according to information that deminers have, all known stockpiles of this mine in the former Yugoslavia have been destroyed. Even the ones that were still in inventory in Serbia, those reportedly have been verified that all of them were destroyed. But who knows for certain? It's entirely possible a bunch of these ended up on the arms black market already or are in hiding somewhere in a warehouse somewhere in the former Yugoslavia or anywhere inside a NATO country. These have not appeared in Ukraine. When I was looking up for information on that to see if they had appeared there, all sources I came across said they have not appeared or been found in Ukraine yet. So even deminers that are tracking stuff for in Ukraine, they're kind of expecting that this mine is going to make an appearance. Now, this mine does have a nickname, and I am not going to try pronouncing the nickname for it out of the former Yugoslavia, but the translated nickname for it is the meat paste tin because of its general appearance and size, similar to apparently one of the rations that the Yugoslavian military used to issue their troops. Now, some of the technicals on this. Diameter is 2 2/3 inches, so this is a little one. Height is 2.5 inches. That's why this falls in the toe popper category, the same as the US M14. Weight is only 5 ounces, of which 3 ounces is the explosive filler, and the explosive filler is TNT. There is an extremely small booster charge inside the fuse here, down in here, and that booster charge is tetryl. Reportedly, it takes a minimum of 15 pounds directly on top of the little fuse star up here to set the mine off. The fuse used in this is the PMA-2. This is a friction type fuse like we've seen with some of the other Yugoslavian mines. You get pressure on the top of the fuse, goes down into the mine, and as it's going into the fuse here, it's starting to, you get pressure ignition in here on some chemicals that ignite a small charge in here, setting off the tetryl booster. It actually says in the demining information on this that as the fuse gets activated, it causes a small flame inside the fuse, and then that small flame sets off the booster. The only metal that is inside this mine is a very thin piece of aluminum inside here that holds that detonator, that holds that tetral booster charge. These mines are extremely hard to locate by deminers because there's so little metallic content inside them. Reportedly, these mines are considered minimally blast resistant, and the reason they say that is if a line charge goes off directly over the top of it, it should set it off, but if it's not nearby, it's not that likely to set the mine off, because instead of having a full pressure pad on top, you just have this star-shaped pressure pad. And as you see here, this is what it looks like when it actually is in place. That little pressure pad is supposed to be above the surface of the ground, hidden in vegetation, making them extremely difficult to see. These mines are made completely out of plastic, and the only mine bodies for the colors that have been encountered are green. However, the fuses have been found in 3 different colors. They've been found in green, black, and in white. Now, the combat life on these after they're placed in the ground is a minimum of 1 year. So this is made out of a little bit better plastic than we've seen on some of the other Yugoslavian plastic cased mines. These mines reportedly come 150 mines per wooden crate, and the fuses, which come separately, as you can see the little box down here, there's 10 fuses inside each box, and my guess is there's probably 15 of these inside the crate with the mines. Now, installation on these, incredibly simple. You go through, inspect the mine, and inspect the fuse. You want to inspect the fuse well too. You have to remove the transit cap here to get a look inside. Make sure there's no type of damage in there that would interfere with the emplacement of the fuse. Make sure that there's no foreign material inside. If there is, turn the mine to the side, gently tap it to try to dislodge the foreign object from inside the fuse well. Everything passes inspection. You pack it up, take it with you to where you want to emplace the mines. And I would probably recommend put the fuses back inside the wooden box and bring that wooden box with you to protect the fuses. Once you're at the location that the mine is going to be emplaced, you dig a hole just large enough for the mine body itself to go in the hole. You want as much of the fuse as possible above the surface of the ground. At least the shaft here and the star pressure plate. Minimum you want those above the ground. Once you got the hole ready, you pull out the mine, remove the transit cap, pull out one of the fuses, screw the fuse into the fuse well, snug it down, don't crank it on. Once the mine has been fused, you will put it into the hole. Then you will unwind the lanyard here. Some have string, some have ribbon, reportedly. Unwind those so that you'll be able to pull out the safety pin from the fuse. After you have that cord unwound, then you go through, camouflage the mine with grass. Then go out to the farthest length of your pull cord here, pull on that to remove the safety pin from the side of the fuse. The mine is now active. Now, it's reported that these mines were designed to be in place to protect anti-tank mines. They also were designed to be used by special operations forces to be in place behind enemy lines as kind of deterrent devices behind them after they would do raids on enemy compounds. They'd leave them in their path behind them for those pursuing security forces that are trying to catch those sappers, trying to catch those SEALs, those Green Berets. You get the general idea. Those types of operations. Now, removal on this. First off, you have to locate the mine. Not going to be that simple. Probably your best time of year for trying to locate these mines is after the grass has all browned out. Because then that green pressure pad, the star here, will be a lot more noticeable. But you need to locate where that mine is at. Go to that general area, check around it for any other mines or booby traps that may not be reported on that mine report or whatever you're using to locate this mine. If you come across other mines, take care of those before you continue on to locate this mine. Once you've located the mine, you are going to very, very carefully remove the foliage, the grass and stuff, from over the top of the mine and around it. You want to expose the top of the mine as much of the fuse as possible. And you're supposed to do that slowly, according to deminers. At this point, if you have the materials, reinsert the safety pin back into the channel on the top of the fuse here. Or they did say you can use an improvised safety pin, put it through there to prevent the fuse from being activated. Once you get the pin through there, then you're supposed to unscrew the fuse from the top of the mine, then go through, check around the mine itself and underneath it for additional booby traps. Then remove the mine from the hole, turn everything in at the mine dump for either reuse or destruction. If you have the transit cap, after you remove the mine from the hole, clean out any dirt or soil that fell inside it, and then screw that transport cap back into place. If you're going to reuse the mines, if you're just going to destroy them, leave it as is. Everything goes over to the mine disposal site. Everything gets gathered up into a pile. Charges get primed, and the mines get destroyed. This is a really simple mine. I'm actually surprised more countries were not listed that were locations where this mine has been found. Most of the countries listed in demining sources, you go through them all. These are ones that were republics of the former Yugoslavia, such as Bosnia, Croatia, Serbia, and Kosovo. And I also seen Montenegro listed too. So they had a few of them in stock, but they didn't use them because they didn't turn into a massive civil war like a lot of the others did. There was some fighting, but not to the scale like you've seen in Bosnia. Will this mine make an appearance in the future? It's entirely possible. As I said, even the people that are tracking mine usage in Ukraine, they expect these mines to appear in Ukraine at pretty much any time. They're actually surprised they haven't yet. Now I want to mention on emplacement of these mines, there's 3 ways these mines can be emplaced. They can be emplaced upright like this, or to increase the pressure area to set off the mine. It wasn't uncommon for a rock to be put in the bottom of the hole, the mine put in upside down, and then enemy soldier would come walking along, press down on the top of the mine itself would go down, that rock would stay in place, activate the fuse. Another method that has been encountered by deminers in the former Yugoslavia, they were coming across some of these that were emplaced to protect anti-tank mines, and the mines were emplaced not upright, not upside down. They were placed on their sides at the approximate angle that a deminer would use a mine probe to try to locate the mine. By doing it that way, the theory was the mine probe would maybe come along, hit your star-shaped pressure plate on here, and set off the mine. Now I know there are pictures out of Angola of these mines being placed directly on top of anti-tank mines, especially older ones that the fuses were kind of questionable on, is what I was able to find out. So the insurgents, they didn't trust the fuse for the anti-tank mine. They would take like 3 or 4 PMA-2s, set them on top of the anti-tank mine, or put them inside the fuse well of the anti-tank mine, and use this as essentially an improvised fuse to set off the larger mine. So there you go. That's the information I could find on this. The Yugoslavian PMA-2 non-metallic anti-personnel mine. Chance of these being encountered is low, but even deminers say they expect that these things are going to make a reappearance in the not too distant future here, because they're so simple designed, so many of them were made, and they just don't know what all happened to them when Yugoslavia fell apart. And as we've seen with some of the other Yugoslavian mines, you know, supposedly they're not being produced anymore, but they're finding newer mines with manufacture dates after they were reported to no longer be in production. It's possible these could appear again. You could see a new production run of these happen that aren't reported to the public, and then, you know, they appear wherever. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and militia movements, always remember essayons.